my brothers and sisters, let's get down to business. I am called Doshanko, otherwise known as He at the Beginning, and welcome to my temple, where today I'm going to be showing a preview of the gameplay for the Safeguard. I did it on the map of Dynasty, which is the third of all the DLC, and I know a lot of people like trying out this map and liking to stay in the back where the docks are kind of blocked off by rubble or some other types of obstructions, and that's not a terrible place to go to defend yourself from against like high waves of enemies. But I will say there is better spots out there. I actually, in comparison to the Showtime and Goldrush gameplays, I actually don't run around this map a whole lot, if at all. Though I managed to make it to wave 59 here, and it's because this map actually does have a location where you can station yourself for a long period of time. And if you get trigger happy, then you don't need to really run much at all. You don't really have to move much. It's just a matter of taking out your enemies quickly and making sure you have enough ammo to supply you through the entirety of the waves. Making sure you time your kill streaks correctly. This is one of the very few maps where I would say that a sentry gun is more useful for dog waves than the vulture is. And I'll get into that during the gameplay when I do some commentary over it. But above all, very fun map to play, and it's very easy to get high waves on this map. Actually, with two other people, I managed to make it to wave 83. So it is definitely possible. This was on the PS3, by the way. I'm sure if I tried to do it like now, I probably would be able to get like maybe wave 100 if I'm lucky with one other person. But aside from that, hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. Let's get it rolling. Roll the tape.
Alright then. So, I'm gonna try to do some commentary over this, Lord willing, because I've been trying to use my new microphone and whatnot, and for whatever reason, the audio is not registering whenever I plug it into the computer. I don't know if it's the ports or whatever, but the new microphone is fucking up on me. And I'm kind of getting over a little cold. I'm not going to even say it's a cold. I don't know what it is. But it's fucked me up for the past like week and a half. I had to work through it, of course, but it's just fucked. Anyways, when I played on this map, it was fun, if you hear me cough, like, forgive me. Like, I have no control over when I have to cough or whatnot. I was trying to avoid recording with my gaming headset because, for one, the gaming headset applies pressure to your head, and since I'm not all the way better yet, I didn't want to have to use it because my microphone is so shitty. I was like, well, fuck, I have no other choice. So I'm kind of forced to do this. So, hopefully it registers every sound that I make. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try to use the laptop audio, which, I don't like doing that either. But I might have to. So we'll see. Let's see what's going on here. Alright, unplug it for a moment. Oh my goodness, I can't say words. For a minute, and hopefully this will be rectified. Okay. So, this is already 10 times better because it's not, putting pressure on my head. But aside from that, I really don't like using the computer audio because sometimes it can get really, really quiet. And sometimes, I don't know why my voice does not register all that well on audio sets. I don't get why. Because it's not quiet right now. And, I don't know if it's the wind patterns of my voice that carries over. I don't know what it is. But sometimes, the voice audio just gets choppy. You can see for Dynasty, it's a much different strategy than the previous two maps. On Showtime, once you actually got trigger happy, it gave you the ability to kind of camp. But on this map, you see I actually go straight for a camping spot. And, this map is actually full of corners, which you can take out the enemies for at least up to 30 waves. There's different spots for it. I think there's at least like, I'd say four different spots you can do that for. But this is the spot you want to remain for like the long waves, like the really hard waves. And I know what you're thinking. You see that little opening in the window over there, or little, I don't even know what it's called, but you see that, and enemies can definitely shoot you through there, but they cannot jump through there because it requires a crouch jump, and the enemies cannot crouch jump. Now, I'm actually like giving the audio of this after I kind of shouted my lungs out playing on Tremor. And Tremor, Tremor is a horrendous map, for Safeguard anyway. You know, I found like the most search and destroy bomb defense on that map. Well, it's tied for Octane actually, but Tremor is so difficult because it's not, it doesn't have spots where you can camp in one place and your enemies can just come from one direction. There's none of that. You essentially have to look both ways. You know, you have to cover your guard in a way where you have to look two places at once. And, you know, when you don't have a teammate, that map becomes 10 times as hard. And I just got to wave 45 today, on that map, and I'm trying to get to wave 50. It kind of reminds me of Behemoth in the regard where you know, you have to defend yourself looking at multiple places at once. Maybe like when you're stationed somewhere and your sentry gun's looking a different way, or looking down a different sideline. Like, this is imperative. When I say don't place your sentry guns where you are, I mean it. Do not place sentry guns where you are. Always place them in a direction that you're not facing, in a flank that you are not facing. Otherwise, it's going to just be kind of useless. Or I'm not going to say useless, but like, you're going to give your sentry gun a lot more chances to be destroyed if you place it right next to you, you know what I mean? Because enemies are going to shoot you, and they're going to shoot the sentry gun in the process, so you don't want to be dumb and take that route.
Large hostile force approaching.
Oy, oy, oy. And you see with the dogs, I got the vulture here, but you really don't need the vulture for dog waves in this spot. You can see in the higher waves, I tend to use the sentry gun, and sometimes I use the sentry gun and vulture when I'm on, when I actually lose trigger happy. I got trigger happy on this gameplay, but I lost it, like, I think maybe in the mid 50s, and, you know, once I lost trigger happy, I knew that my survival, like, it wasn't going to be that much longer. So I tried to unleash all the kill streaks I could to take out the dogs, and then tried to do what I could when the enemies came around. And, you know, trigger happy is essential to get to the higher waves. No ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, without it, you could probably get to at least wave 40, or maybe a couple waves afterwards, but you have to have trigger happy in order to survive for long periods of time on this map. For Showtime, you know, the only reason I was able to survive without it is because that map, it got you used to running around so many different times, and like, you're always going to meet the enemies that you like are looping around. Like, it has a very predictable map pattern. This map, on the other hand, like, you know, you can run around or whatnot, but there's tons and tons of flank routes, even though it's kind of like it has a lot of buildings, it has a lot of structures, but the areas, there's a lot of open areas in which you can be like fucked over, and that's why running on this map is kind of something I discourage. You know, I'm about to say on Showrush and Gold Time, no, on Goldrush and Showtime, you know, those maps encourage sprinting, because you can't, like, without trigger happy, you can't afford to settle in one place. And even with trigger happy on Goldrush, you saw that I still had to run around the map like several times, even though I had Goldrush. I mean, my goodness, even though I had trigger happy. I can't say words, bro. These maps are kind of like, I don't know, man. As you can see, I didn't even get sleight of hand yet. Recommend to get 2 shotguns for this particular spot. And as you can see, I'm laying underneath this little stairwell here. And the reason for that is because I want to discourage the enemies to take me, like, from shooting me, like, through the little window way or whatever, the area to the right. Enemies will be more prone to try to shoot you if they're standing up or crouching. So it's best to be prone, and it's best to be prone in an area where you can see the entire, like, enemies coming from the left side. They are more prone to come for the left side than the right side. So that's why I kind of have my shotgun, pointed more towards the left than the right. And as you can see, I kind of bided my time. Whenever you have one enemy left and you have crates that are further away from you, you kind of use that to kind of, get the perks you need, because otherwise, when the wave starts, you're not going to really be able to access it. Not on a whim, anyway.
Infected incoming.
Yep. I might not speak for very long during this gameplay because, again, I'm still a little bit sick. And I don't know if my vocal cords will be able to kind of stretch the entirety that is like an hour plus. But I'll try to say what I can. As you can see with the riot shielders, you gotta aim at their toes. I used to hate, actually still hate facing the riot shielders. Those are the main reasons why I got down on fucking Tremor, bro. Like, the spot I was using on Tremor, I didn't have fast health regen. And, like, I got to wave 45 without fast health regen. So every time I took a hit, it took me longer and longer to heal, and I desperately needed that to heal. I had Trigger Happy, which helped a little bit. You regained a tiny bit of health after each shot. But, like, without fast health regen, you're a sitting duck. And, like, for me to go so long without fast health regen on that map and get to wave 45, that was just, like, flat out amazing to me, because that map is not designed for you to get high waves on Safeguard, at least when you're playing on solo. When you're playing with 4 people, yeah, you could probably get to wave 100, and I've seen people get to wave 100 on that map with 4 people. But I've never seen a living soul try to play that map by themselves, and there's good reason for that. It sucks. It sucks when you try to play it by yourself. This map, on the other hand, is better to try to play by yourself than the other Nemesis maps. I casually say that as I, almost get overran by the enemies, but there are times when, your equipment will actually work on these guys. There's times where they'll just be able to walk through it, and, that sucks. I hate when it happens, but you can't depend on your equipment. You gotta be able to take some shots out. Yeah. Man, I don't know why there's so much phlegm in my fucking throat, bro. Jesus Christ. Oh, there, I got sleight of hand.
Infected incoming.
Yep. And when the dogs come around, I tend to use the MTS more because the MTS fires faster shots. And coupled with Trigger Happy, you could just continuously pop off shots against the dogs, but still have the FP6 behind to take care of the regular enemies. But yeah, like, I've learned to not depend on the Wild Widow so much for dogs, because Wild Widow forces you to take fewer shots to get the kill, and you're so dependent on that single shot to get the kill that you become kind of, like, I'm not gonna say complacent, but like a tiny bit lazy. So it's best to fire multiple shots off and always keep your guard up. Have some malleability to move around while those dogs, go in certain directions. Yeah. I don't know if it's my necklace, but I feel like this is fucking choking me. Give me one moment.
Large hostile force approaching. Vulture expired.
Okay. Managed to take those necklaces off, and my neck feels a little bit freer. But as you can see, I never get the team restock until it starts flashing, because you want to expend as much ammo as possible. And as you can see, the IED didn't even kill them there. That's something that happens to me quite a bit, actually. And, it sucks because you expect it to do what it needs to do. But, the game will cheese you. And it definitely cheesed me when I was playing on Tremor. Because I was on, I think, wave 39 or whatnot. And I completed a field order. And then it had the nerve to give me an equipment challenge, as I still had, explosive ammo. And I tried to run around and kind of bide my time until the explosive ammo wore off. But, there was too many enemies surrounding me, and I was like, well, fuck, I had to kind of maneuver my way around, and, the game will do that to you. It will literally say screw you when you get so close to a checkpoint. And, for the maps that are very insane in difficulty, like on Goldrush, like on Sub-Zero, I'm trying to think of what other maps, Behemoth and Collision, on Earth, like, it seems like the game's sole purpose is to fuck you over. So you gotta really prepare yourself for occasions where the game might try to get rid of your shit.
Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the next wave.
I don't even know how I'm still even talking right now. For my job, I talk all day, and I have 10-hour shifts. And this is over the phone. We have constant calls going on. And since I've been sick, it's been utter hell trying to, have the amount of power to just keep talking, even though your throat is one step away from losing your voice. But shit, gotta make the bread, man. I swear to God, I'm not a smoker either. So before y'all say I cough like I smoke 100 cigarettes, fuck y'all. Alright, I don't smoke substances. I don't do substances. Alright, I stay away from that shit. And, even if I wanted to do that shit, nah. I guarantee you, the actual smoke from the shit would be enough to kill me. Because I'm an asthmatic and I can't afford to breathe that shit in. Nor can I really afford to have a lot of strong shit going to my brain either. My body's a naturally frail body, let me give you that. It is a naturally frail body. I temper it with training or whatnot. I still work out, but my body is immunocompromised. I'm 140 something pounds. I'm not gonna say I'm defenseless, far from that, but my body is not inherently strong. You know what I mean? There's a lot of roadblocks and overall hoops I had to jump through just to get my body to see somewhat of a normalcy in regards to a fitness level. I literally had to run with a mask on, just for me to retain enough air. That way I didn't hyperventilate or lose too much air or something like that. Now I know what you guys might be thinking is bro, if you're running with a mask, it's more pressure on your mouth, and not to mention, your lungs won't be able to inhale all that much, from the natural air. Well, at the same time, my breaths are really shallow, and it's easier for me to lose my breath just breathing without a filter than it is for me to, it's almost like having a paper bag. You know how people have paper bags when they hyperventilate, and that allows the air to kind of recycle back into their lungs. Even though it's in a confined space, it still works. It's kind of like the similar thing, albeit a bit more dangerous, because the properties of the mask is not made of paper, like paper bag, but it still helps enough to the point where I can confidently run a couple miles with it, and then after my breathing is kind of stabilized and I have a direct pace, then I can take my mask off and kind of finish the rest of the set. But I never start off running without my mask. I always use my mask to gauge how much I can breathe and need to breathe, and that way when I have my mask off, it gives me a proper gauge point. I know it seems absolutely stupid, and it probably is stupid, but it works. Oh yeah. I tell you, man, cardio used to be my bane all growing up, man. When we did the pacer test, I could barely breathe at all. And not to mention, like, we were in, like, asbestos or maybe dust-filled gyms where the breathing, if you inhaled that shit, that's gonna irritate your lungs even more. I think they got rid of the pacer test a long time ago, though. Like, shortly after I graduated or something like that. And I was like, that's news to me. You know, I wish that shit never existed. I wish I could just run laps outside. Better running outside than inside. And, you know, I love, you know what? We used to run around a park, right? We used to run around a park, and it was a long path in the wilderness. And, you know, we had to watch out for, you know, possible wildlife. We had to watch out for a lot of bumps and all these other turns. I loved running out in that, even though I typically hate the idea of being in a forest of any kind. I like that because of the surge and, like, it's like the be ready for anything type of feel. I just love the rush and exhilaration behind it. And then when you reach a certain point, you then, you know, tag back and then go back to the school. Like, that was so cool to me. And part of me wish I did that more than the pacer test, because I felt like I would have done better on that, like for time wise. And then, like, the pacer test is just an endurance type of test or whatnot. But again, as an asthmatic, I barely breathe. And not to mention my shoes. My shoes did not have any grip whatsoever. So, like, when I was running and I crossed the line and then, like, I kind of slipped and then I had to kind of catch back up because my shoes were so slippery. It expended more energy out of me, and then I tried to get shoes with more grip, and for whatever reason, instead of slipping, I tripped. Because I'm not used to, like, having the freaking, my shoes being so sturdy, so my toes want to overcompensate, and sometimes they tip over, and I'm just like, well, fuck. You know, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, but it's when I started running outside that I actually got that shit. And nowadays, you know, the longest I ran without stopping was like 9.5 miles. Though I had to run at a snail's pace because if I tried to accelerate in any other type of form, I possibly would have died. But you know, maybe in due time, I'll probably try to accelerate just a tiny bit. I did actually, like, each time I cross a street, like, where there's a sidewalk, I actually try to double my speed each time. And that kind of happened, like, let's say about 6 to 7 times per lap. So I tried to actually kind of increase my speed. I'm not going to count myself out there. I'm trying to think. I think I ran like 9 miles in like roughly like almost 2 hours. I'd say like an hour and 35 minutes. Which isn't bad. I'm not an athlete. Never was an athlete. Never claimed to have been an athlete. Which makes it all the more impressive to me. But you know, I expect so much more of myself because, like, you know, discipline yourself. You try to train parts of your body that are lacking, and there's certain parts that no matter how hard you train, your body's just going to be weak in a certain area, but you can still try to get better. It's just like, it's weird, man. No, same thing could also be said for my legs. My legs are like, like my legs are very, very skinny, but you know, I can squat more than twice my size. I can leg press like almost almost 700 pounds. I can pistol squat while balancing on dumbbells. Like, and I'm not just talking regular pistol squat. I'm talking about pistol squats on like 5 pound dumbbells, right? And like, you know, I've even pistol squatted while using cinder blocks, like holding cinder blocks as a counterweight. I love doing that. My legs are insanely strong. And you know, and it wasn't until recently where I actually build more endurance. But yeah, like people look at my legs, they think that my legs are gonna crumble, and then all of a sudden, like I'm able to output more strength from my legs than they're capable of doing. Um, I even remembered, like in high school, there was a time where I went to the squat rack, right? I was squatting like I think it was like it was 250 at the time. I was only like I was 140 something pounds at the time, and I had this teammate or partner or whatnot, and he was much taller than I was, um, but homeboy, he's like, man, I got this. He tried to squat like I think 185 or something like that. Motherfucker buckled immediately. I was like, God, Jesus. I had to like get up underneath of him and squat the weight back up because like I wasn't expecting him to buckle like that. Um, and it wasn't even that his legs necessarily were weak at the time. I think he had a really bad back. But then I also remember at the time I also had a really bad back. So like I don't know. I don't know. It's not like I was like my upper half was kind of stocky, but my lower half I was trying to improve upon that part in strength and conditioning or whatnot. But you know, nothing really came to fruition. We tried like doing multiple different exercises, and you know, I think my legs were a bit more defined, but they weren't like getting larger. And it might have been down to my diet. I think it might have been down to my diet, but I always like genetically had like the short end of the stick in regards to the legs. Like I do not have good legs. I have the strongest legs, but I don't have good legs. Um, well, that's not true. My dad, like when he was in high school, he could like leg press like 700 or something pounds. Like, I think it's because he had a better back than I did. I know he has a bad back now, and he's had a bad back like since he kind of got to his 40s because his job demands so much from him physically. It's a wonder how he's still able to like do it in his 50s. And God bless him. But I know like in comparison, or not in comparison, but like what does it say? What is it called when it's like in proportion? Okay, in proportion to like my weight to my like overall like size, like I'm relatively light, and like the fact that I was lighter than my dad and still managed to get near 700 pounds on a leg press was just like, despite not being an athlete either, which is utterly insane to me. And it could be that I just inherited a lot of his strengths. I don't know if strength is something that one can inherit from somebody. I guess it could be. I don't know. Um, or maybe it's like the way our joints are kind of, you know, structured, where it can just unleash that type of power despite it not being like the largest limbs. I don't know what it is, but my legs have always been incredibly strong, despite like their lack of size. And you know, why am I even talking about this? I've been on a tangent going on about fucking legs and strength and shit. I'm obsessed with it. You know, I wear pants to the gym almost all the time. But you know, so long as I'm able to, you know, uh, so long as I'm able to show my legs are strong and durable, I guess that's what counts. Um, so back to this map. I know I've been kind of straying away from this map in regards to conversation for a little while now, but this map in particular was just so fun to play. I mean, you know, I managed to get to wave 83 with 2 other people when I was playing on PS3. So like, it was a very easy map to like kind of navigate. Um, It's ironic that I didn't get to wave 100 on this map while playing with multiple people, but then on Showtime, on multiple occasions, I actually managed to get to wave 100, just like with one other person. It's amazing to me how that even happened. I guess it's because the strategy like demanded something different. And you see this doorway, like not like one person cannot block this doorway. Enemies will still be able to go through like the left or right. So like I guess that's another thing to keep in mind. Maybe like 2 people would have to block the doorway instead of 1. But like overall, I mean, you can get still really far. And as you can see, I do have trigger happy here, and I definitely took advantage of that shit. Yep. And then again for the dogs, like I think that squad mate has lasted me quite some time.
Infected incoming.
Yeah, he lasted me quite some time. Man, I'm just still thinking about Tremor, man. I'm still thinking about playing that map and getting so close and fucking up. I was so pissed when I died on wave 45 because a riot shielder trapped me in a freaking corner when he shouldn't have trapped me at all. And then my squad mate, when I called him in, he got immediately swarmed and he couldn't revive me. So I literally had to watch myself just die on wave 45 when I had a kill streak challenge. Literally 4 kills. I had 4 kills. Could have had the kill streak challenge. And I probably should have done it that wave so I could guarantee that I survived for the next round or something like that. But, you know, I thought I could survive without it because for waves prior I was able to do just that. But, you know, this game teaches me, you know, that, you know, fuck your plans. This game will fuck you up. And literally, there's like hardly anything you can do about it other than to adapt. So, you know, for future reference, when I play that map, I know what to do, and I know how to adapt. You know, if I was able to get to wave 53 on freaking Goldrush, then I know that I can get, like, you know, 2 or above wave 50 on any map. And Tremor is just, like, my next target at this point. Fuck, man. I don't even know if, like, y'all can hear me that well. Like, when I play this back, I don't know if y'all can hear me that well. I know you guys can hear the cough because it registers a louder frequency. But, you know, my regular voice, I don't know why it doesn't pick up that well on microphones. Maybe I'm a fucking ninja or something, I don't know. As you can see, I'm using my MTS here. Because the enemies actually tend to run through here rather fast. And, like, you won't be able to really keep up.
Get ready for the next wave. Team restock. Additional support granted.
Now here I was trying to make sure I found something that could go behind trigger happy, because once you lose that, then your chances of survival drastically go down. And, you know, it always sucks when that happens. So you want to try to have as many advantages as possible. Fuck this cough, man. Seriously, just fuck this cough. Wherever it came from, fuck this cough. Now, as you can see, it's a dog wave. So I actually had my vulture out here and had my squad mate kind of take the guard. I usually don't do this on higher waves. Not that this is like an extremely high wave. It's still like a relatively regular wave. You know. Yep. And when enemies start coming from that side, I just throw an IED and it usually takes care of the bunch. Since my squad mate's over there, he also can watch that side, but I'm not dependent on my squad mate because I know my squad mate tends to do dumb shit. So yeah. So I managed to survive just fine without the squad mate's help, really. It's pretty much me and the vulture. And I go back in here. Man. I don't know what it is, bro. But this is so fucking crazy to me.
Vulture expired.
Vulture expired, huh? Fuck that vulture. And you see the guy tries to travel to the front and die immediately, and I'm just like, fucking why? Like, I hate when they do that. They always want to rush headfirst into areas of combat where they cannot afford to fucking die. And he's lucky that I'm guarding his ass, like, because without me there, he's just done. It helps to have an extra guy in back of you whenever, like, you feel like you either have to reload or you miss too many shots. If they don't kill your enemies, it at least gives your enemies an extra target. That way they're not as focused on you. So I always try to look at it from that perspective. And, you know, more often than not, I'm forced to look at it from that perspective because on most of these maps, your squad mate's not going to be of much help to you. Because they're always going to try to wander off into where the enemies are most prevalent and get themselves swarmed. On Goldrush, it's not that bad because they thrive off of having ranged engagements, and Goldrush definitely has a lot of that. You can definitely, like, even if you were to go down on wave, like, let's say you went down on wave 2 or some shit, and you caught your squad mate. Like, if you did the strategy that I did, your squad mate could blast from wave 2 all the way to fucking, like, you know, mid-wave 30s or some shit like that. I think on Unearth, I think he died there. But I think on Unearth, my squad mate actually survived up until, like, wave 38, wave 39. And then on my initial gameplay of Sub-Zero, my squad mate actually did manage to survive until like wave 39 or something like that. So like they can survive for a while under very, very strict circumstances. But it's not a regular type of thing. You know what I mean? It's like it varies from map to map. And don't do what I did. Placing a sentry gun in that location is utterly the dumbest thing you could do. Because it doesn't have as much of a line of sight as the other place. Like, it has a very narrow line of sight. You want it to have an open line of sight, and you want enemies to roll, like, to go past it. You don't want enemies to just head towards it. It's doing work, but it will eventually get destroyed, yeah. So when that happens, I was like, well, fuck, I'm not doing that again. You know, it's a headshot challenge, so I was kind of forced to, you know, aim for the heads, but you can't really aim for the heads all that much when you're in this spot. You have to aim at their toes, otherwise, you know, like with the riot shielders, you can't afford them to have any type of ground against you. Because if you do, you're fucked. If you don't aim at their legs, you are fucked. So keep that in mind, okay?
Enemy forces inbound.
So yeah, for dogs, I placed the sentry gun down. And I actually called him a vulture. I didn't need to call him a vulture, because it was only wave 37. But, you know, I still wanted the extra security, I guess, having that out there. I was paranoid. And you can see how quickly, you know, both the vulture and the sentry guns are taking out the opposition. And even if you charge head first, page your team restock. Remember, a team restock is able to fully restore your health, but you don't want to do it like on wave 50, or you don't even want to do that on wave 40 all that much. You just want to be able to have an IED close by to the team restock, or like you want to put your IED right where the team restock is. That way, when enemies start approaching from it, you know, the IED will clear them out, and then you have a means to regenerate your health and go like get to a safe distance. You know what I mean? That's usually what tends to happen anyway. As you can see, I still have no perk behind Trigger Happy, so I've been kind of fighting to not die so I do not lose that perk. And it becomes tougher and tougher with each passing wave. Now, as you can see, the sentry gun picks up a lot of enemies from that location. And that's why the sentry gun is better in that open sideline as opposed to the narrow one. It's much more useful against the dogs because the dogs can't shoot your sentry gun, therefore they cannot take it out. And the main threats to your sentry guns are the riot shielders and the gunners. So like, there's not as many gunners in proportion to dogs as there use on dog waves. You really don't have to worry about it all that much.
Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the
Honestly,
next wave.
fuck this cough, man. It's not even that the cough causes me any fucking pain. The cough is just there because it feels like I have a tickle in the back of my throat, or I need to get like some phlegm out. That's the only reason why I'm having this cough right now. It pisses me off because I just want to be able to say, multiple different sentences without feeling this tickle that need a cough or whatever. I hate it. I honestly fucking hate it. It used to be painful until like weeks passed, and I guess my body's like, you know what? I'm over this shit. Let's just not give it like the painful feel. Because, or maybe it's like a pain tolerance at this point. My throat is just like, nope.
Weapon proficiency increased.
As you can see, bro, when you got the minigun out, you know what I learned? It's best to have it's best to complete a minigun challenge on a wave. You don't want to, and what I mean by that is, when you have an equipment challenge or when you have a kill streak challenge, it's best to complete it on the wave that it pops up, or it's best to complete it when it's still an active challenge during a current wave. So you can kind of hold off on completing a challenge or whatnot, for a while, but on a certain wave, if you still have that challenge up, it's best to complete it during that wave, and not like at the beginning of the wave, I should say. Because if you complete it at the end, it'll not give you enough time if it's like an equipment challenge for the next wave. There's practically no solution to be able to retain your ammo, aside from running away from your enemies and trying not to kill them as much as possible. But we all know that's borderline suicide. So complete your field orders at the beginning of your waves, or on the wave that it's called upon, because otherwise it might give you an equipment challenge and fuck you up, and you have to expect it. You have to expect it to fuck you up. That's how I've been able to survive so long on all these different maps by myself, is because I expect the game to fuck me over, and I was well prepared for it, and I managed to adjust. Man, oh man. So here we go. So I'm just preparing for the next wave here. Past wave 40 is where the enemies tend to get very scary. And I say that because the enemies tend to go prone. They're able to shoot through much more objects to kill you. And that's kind of my concern when I was playing on Tremor. Is I was up on a spot near a ladder, and there was countless guys climbing up. I had trigger happy, luckily. But these enemies were pouring in from 3 different directions, and I had to have eyes in the back of my head the whole time. I couldn't afford to give myself an inch. And I didn't have fast health regen, so every time I got hit, it took me longer to recover. And it pissed me off. And I tried to go for that team restock there, but I wasn't able to get it in time. But luckily I saved the 2 crates, and I was able to get 1 full ammo. That's pretty much all you need at this point when you're on the higher waves anyways. You want to use them in case you don't get a team restock. But you have to make sure you use it wisely here. No pun intended.
Hostiles inbound.
So here we go. And, you know, I just borderline ignored the FP6 here. I just wanted to use the MTS because, again, I told you guys before, these enemies come hot and heavy through this doorway very, very fast. And the FP6 fires slower than the MTS. And with the speed these guys are coming in, the FP6 was just not going to cut it. You're best off using the FP6 when you've taken out most of your opposition and you switch to your FP6 like when they're not flowing through this fast. And if they drop a team restock, you gotta be prepared for that. But you see, they weren't really dropping a team restock like that. And luckily for me, I was able to, you know, knife them before the wave ended. I was forced to use up both of these crates because that wave, they were supposed to drop a team restock and they just didn't. Or I didn't see it. If they did drop it, I didn't see it. They might have actually died off, like somewhere out of the map or something like that, and I might not have been able to get to it, but I didn't see one at all, that wave. Yoink. And basically I had to depend on team restocks to get me through. So whenever a team restock appeared, I knew what I had to do. Those IEDs did come in handy. And I was able to finish the wave, luckily.
Weapon proficiency increased.
Now I knew it was going to be a dog wave. I just knew. And I waited until the wave started to place my sentry gun out there because, you know, the longer you wait, you know, the better chances your sentry gun is probably going to survive for longer. Hear some of the dogs there, but you'll definitely hear the sentry gun taking out more of the dogs. Only a couple will kind of go through the doorway. Oh wow, yeah, they destroyed the sentry gun that way. I forgot about that. Normally they don't do it that fast, but you know, again, this game likes to fuck you over. So, you know, you just gotta be prepared for anything at this point. And the MTS definitely helped with like firing off the necessary quick shots for these dogs. I think to a point I actually switched to my FP6 because I was close to a support drop, but I was expending so much of my ammo, and until that support drop came, I didn't want to risk losing all that ammo for like wave 47, you know what I mean? So yep, did that. And yep, placed that sentry gun and got that one. I tried to get as many kill streaks as I possibly could because I knew this wave was going to put me in that place.
Infected incoming.
And luckily it wasn't a dog wave, but still. And when I placed the sentry gun down, that's when I actually pulled out the FP6 because I had no other choice. And enemies will not be flowing through as heavy with the sentry gun out there. So it gave me room to use my FP6 here as opposed to me using my MTS.
Weapon proficiency increased.
I think it said to destroy the sentry gun. But at this point, I think I also have my vulture still there too. I forgot if it like still.
Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the next wave.
And by that point, I was like, yeah, my vulture was there. I don't know what the fuck it was doing. But yeah, I was kind of biding my time because I've been picking off these enemies with a melee field challenge or whatnot. And literally, when it gives you the melee field challenge, it basically says, if you complete this, I will kill you. So you want to make sure you do this, like, you know, one by one, like by the end of every wave you try to complete. Like at least kill 1 or 2 enemies with melees. before the wave ends. And don't try to do any more than that, or else you're fucked. For dog waves, it might be a little bit easier because dogs are the easiest things to knives. But when it comes to these regular infantry right here, see, look at this. I was running out of ammo. And I was like, fuck, I had to run.
Weapon proficiency increased.
I was so close to being overwhelmed right there. But I knew. Look at that.
Weapon level increased.
I almost I almost got greedy, and I almost went down immediately there.
Hostiles inbound.
And the reason why I stood out there is because I wanted to see if it was a dog wave, because I wanted to keep a hold of my sentry guns just in case I lost trigger happy, and like I would have one as backup. Because the sentry guns do save your life on those higher waves. And see, they're starting to try to shoot me through the little window open. You can see it from the side. But for the most part, they haven't been really able to get to me. And I had to throw my stun grenade. I don't like using my stun grenade at all because it makes me feel like a coward for doing so. But I had to do it. I had to do it.
Level increased.
And I was definitely not going to go down 1 off of 50. That was just not going to happen. I died on wave 49 on several maps tons of times, and I was just livid. I was like, nah, this shit ain't happening again.
Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the next
I'm
wave.
trying to remember. I think I only have 1 melee left. But for here, I knew I had to place the sentry guns down. And I think I called him a vulture too.
Large hostile force approaching.
Or maybe I didn't call him a vulture. I thought I did, but maybe that's on waves after 50. And I kind of, set up those IEDs as a little fortress right there. And they destroyed the sentry gun, but it did help me quite a bit to take out or slow some of the other enemies from coming in. So it wasn't that big of a drop off. But yeah, these enemies will definitely destroy your sentry gun very fast if like the circumstances are, against you enough. I'm trying to remember. I didn't get the 2 crates that are over there, luckily for me. So like I was able to kind of restock my ammo in case of emergency there. And I switched to the FP6, and I knew that, like, oh, would you look at that? There was a team restock, and I wasn't expecting it that late in the wave, but it happened.
Team restock. Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the next
And
wave.
you know what? I managed to complete the equipment challenge. Or not the equipment challenge, but the melee challenge. And I completed it at the end of the wave, though I probably shouldn't have, because, again, it could have given me an equipment challenge right afterwards. And it could have fucked everything up. Fortunately, I don't think it did. But still, having that in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I would get really lucky if this was the case.
Infected incoming.
So it was a headshot challenge, luckily. But if it was an equipment challenge, I likely would have had to call my squad mate here. And luckily for me, it was a dog wave as well. So I was able to just go to town with this minigun on the dogs. And it felt like the most satisfying feeling to fuck over the AI, because they always fucked me over. And it was always a great thing to see karma. But the thing is, the enemies were shooting at you from that window, so you had to keep a close eye on these guys. And as you can see, I completed that wave before the explosive ammo kind of dusted off. And you see, I still don't have a perk behind trigger happy, and that's going to be probably the reason why I go down. or what I end up calling him my squad mate, in the mid-50s here. I think it was 53 in which I actually did go down.
Your sentry gun is gone.
So yep, the sentry gun was gone. Now I had to get headshots, and again, this spot discourages looking at the head because you have to look at the enemy's feet in order to have a chance. And, I couldn't do it. I couldn't look at the people's heads, but at the same time, they were coming in so freaking fast that I was kind of wasting extra shots because I was paranoid they would actually sneak up on me. and they actually managed to pop a round in me. And they were just about to kill my squad mate, immediately. So I was like, no, I was not going to have that. So yeah, I made sure to, once my squad mate came in, I actually started aiming for the head. Because I had that added layer of assurance that there was someone behind me that was covering me. And yep.
Hostiles eliminated. Get ready for the next wave.
But you see, I lost trigger happy. And you know what that means? It means I'm a sitting duck. It means I practically have little to no chance of survival unless I actually tap into my kill streaks. So that's what I did here.
Hostiles inbound.
And it was a dog wave. So you know what I called in a Vulture 2 for heavy duty? And you can see the results here. That's why it's imperative that you really pick your spots when using your kill streaks. You gotta know when to use them and knowing which ones to use. Because again, I had to reload, and you cannot afford to reload when you're in wave 50 plus. Unless you're me playing on Showtime and you just had that dumb luck that you did not get trigger happy rounds before when you should have. And then when I actually got trigger happy, that was the round I died. It's such an ironic fucking thing, you know what I mean? But the squad mate actually lasted a very decent amount of time despite it being high up in the waves. And that was just amazing to see. And don't also, when you're calling your Vulture is not only taking care of the enemies in front of you, but they're also taking care of the enemies towards the right of you. Because again, it has the ability to levitate. And I took this time to get to the care packages that were further away from me because you won't be able to really have that luxury on the higher waves. And from there, I didn't even call in the sentry gun anymore. I just let it fucking die and then just call it again.
Enemy forces inbound.
Yep. I made sure I covered all my bases in case the game wanted to fuck me up some more. Every time I had to reload, I tossed the stun or threw an IED. And I tried to get as many headshots as I could too. And my squad mate, as usual, tried to fucking die. And I don't know how he did not die. The sentry gun definitely slowed down the enemy's approach, and it took out a lot of guys on this wave. Despite waves prior, they managed to destroy the sentry gun earlier. Again, it's completely randomized what the enemies will actually try to do. But as you can see, the sentry gun is still kicking, and it helped me out so much here.
Get ready for the next wave. Additional support granted.
Now, at this point, I was like, okay, there's no fucking way I'm going to probably survive for that much longer. I only had 2 headshots left, for the field order, and I made sure to make that a priority because I couldn't afford to keep posting that off because I need the sentry gun and the Vulture for the dog waves exclusively, and once I lose that, I'm fucked. So I took a chance here.
Infected incoming.
I took a chance, and I didn't use any of my kill streaks this wave. I exclusively just tried to aim for the head here. And, you know, getting that explosive ammo minigun saved my fucking life. See? Got that, and stayed in the fucking back. Squad mate tried to die. He failed because I had this thing. And, you know, I wasn't gonna let him just take the easy way out, you know what I mean? He was gonna fucking serve me. Yeah. And those guys in the window could get it too. Ugh. So fucking tired too. Yep, you know, it did its task, and, you know, I think this was the dog wave, wave 58. I thought he was gonna jump off the edge into the water. That would have been fucking hilarious and annoying at the same time. But, you know, I had the sentry gun, I had the vulture out, and, you know, by this point I knew the wave after I was fucking toast, unless there was, like, some type of equipment challenge or something. I knew that if there wasn't an equipment challenge on wave 59, there would be no way I'll be able to survive. And again, like, even when I was getting overwhelmed, the vulture actually kind of really helped me out here. Not having that there would have been, like, detrimental, so, like, again, you just gotta know when to call in certain kill streaks. And the sentry gun really did a lot of work on this wave. Yep. At this point, I knew I was gonna die. If there was no freaking equipment challenges or whatnot, I knew that without any more kill streaks and without trigger happy, it was only a matter of time. And, you know, I tried to do as much as I could with the squad mates still there, but ultimately, it was not to be. But I did originally pass, like, my other record of 58 for the first, you know, gameplay that I showed on YouTube on solo. So, I mean, that was a good thing, but it was only by one wave. And, you know, I saw that team restock out there, I was like, no, fuck that shit. And then, like, I got fucked up, and that guy actually, like, he snuck around me, I didn't even see him. He just, like, fucking creamed my squad mate, and then he just shot me in the back. But face the mountain, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed.